Every lie that's ever been told is starting to break down. The world is in a state of unrest. Catastrophe is spreading too fast for some to comprehend. Things aren't the way they used to be. Things are changing. I've felt it. I felt it all my life. I see it all unfolding the way I felt that it would. I don't mean that in a prognosticative way that I knew it would be like this, because in a way we all kind of knew. We all knew where this was going. We all knew that there was only a few different ways that this could possibly end. Things end so that new things can begin. It's the natural flow of the universe. What I fear most, though, is not being true in a world that is swallowed by deception. And some people want that. They want to be spoon-fed the lie. And I've seen the other end of the spectrum, how we can live in a comfortable reality, so secure and safe. I've had panic attacks. I've had anxiety. I've felt impending doom, like a feeling like everything, and I mean literally everything, is falling apart. There's nothing left to salvage. As dramatic as that sounds, it's not completely true. As long as there is some shred of integrity, as long as there's still some good left in the human soul, all can't be lost. And it's not yet. But the way that we're living, our lifestyles, the lies, living from a limited bandwidth, we are made out of light. We are beings of light. We're not confined just to 3 dimensions. We are much more complex. Our light shines. Yet we live in a conditioned society where we are meant to suppress it, keep it hidden, be ashamed of it. Make love in the dark while practicing violence and murder in broad daylight, as John Lennon would say. That's where we're at. That's where we've been at for a long time. The paradigm can't continue. It's not going to. In fact, it's falling apart at such an unprecedented rate, nobody's even willing to look at it. It's all just alarmism. That's what we do to real science now. It's alarmist. If it isn't watered down through our mainstream media feeding trough that we all feed from and listen to, well, that's not an official scientific source, that's an independent study. Independent studies aren't peer-reviewed. Well, actually, independent studies are peer-reviewed. It's just not by the peers that you associate with, your peers, okay? And that's called groupthink, when we only accept what the largest number of people agree with, while a small percentage is ignored. So, people are obviously very comfortable in the prison that they're living in, because they've made no effort at all to see outside of it, or to take that a step further, they've almost welcomed it. They've welcomed it. It's like, do your job, get your fucking paycheck, pay your fucking bills, and go die, and go rot in a fucking hole, and let your family pay off whatever bills are left behind, and just fuck you, fuck everybody, fuck the whole world, and everybody just keep going shopping, while all natural resources are depleted, accelerating by the day, exponentially. You really think that the planet is, by design, can support this type, this plundering? The planet can't support, it's done an outstanding job. I'm surprised we lasted this long. That's not alarmism, that's a mathematical fact. You can look it up if you don't believe me. I'm shocked that the planet has adapted. And I use that word lightly because it hasn't adapted, it's under assault every day. Every day that goes by, the planet slips a little bit further away. A little bit. So small that you can barely measure it, but small enough to make the difference. And it will make the difference when certain people in drought-stricken areas turn on their taps and no water comes out. When people go to the grocery store and there's no groceries, or, things that people don't want to think about because they're too busy, you know, whatever it is people do these days. They always come up with new ways to, now it's not just Pokemon Go that's the augmented reality. Now they're coming out with new ideas, new ways to augment reality. Isn't that great that we can live in our augmented reality while the real reality falls apart at the seams, literally, metaphorically and literally, goes up in flames? And if people don't want to research this because it's too heavy, Colton, it's too depressing. Yeah, well, guess how depressing it's going to be when it fucking happens and it all comes all at once. Wouldn't it be better at least to have some degree of preparation? Wouldn't it at least be in our best interest to know the full scope of what's going on around us? No, we're so caught up in our self-pity and, oh, I can't get a girlfriend. Oh, I can't get a boyfriend. Oh, woe is me. No one can ever love me. I'm unlovable. And yet I perpetuate that. So you create that reality by holding those thoughts. You do realize that, right? I get this from people all the time. Your thoughts can't influence reality. Reality is outside of ourselves, and our perception of it is subjective. Well, I would actually challenge that concept. I believe that reality is subjective, and that our thoughts do influence it, because we're made out of the same stuff that everything else is made out of. How can you create separation? Separation is only the solid, the liquid to the gas, but is it not the same element? If you burn the wood, it turns to smoke. Is the wood dead, or has it just changed into a different form? Yes, it might be dead in the physical sense, but the smoke is very much alive, and it's moving, and it becomes something else. It's taken up into the atmosphere to settle down and become something else, just like we will. And some would ask, if there really is proof of the divine, proof of a God or a matrix, an intelligent, sentient mind, why not give us undeniable, tangible proof? There's many different ways of answering this question without really answering it because no one really knows. But here's my take on it. I believe that we exist in a world where free choice is honored, so to the extent where we can sever our ties, our divine connection to all that is and ever was and ever will be, and we can have this illusion of death, of separation, of an individualized human self. And I understand humans are selfish. It doesn't mean that everything, just because we believe that everything is a part of everything, that doesn't make us selfish. It's just a verifiable fact, that's all, that everything's connected. We're connected to nature. You can't deny that. We are connected. We're connected to the matrix around us, the systems, the life force. I believe that if higher beings do exist, if there are angels, they don't give us definitive proof of their existence, because that would violate our choice to not believe. So there can't be any definitive proof, because we are here to experience the illusion of separation. The only way we can experience that is if we don't know whether there is something else beyond death, or whether we're just simply selfish and blinded by our own. We want to be comforted. We don't like the idea of not existing for eternity. But I see fear in a different way. For example, I used to be afraid of going down the water slide when I was a little kid, which is very small in comparison to something like death, but I'm going to use it anyway. I was always afraid of it. My grandfather always used to say, you should try, you might actually enjoy it, you know. He tried to encourage me to face my fear, as any wise man would, or wise woman, want to make you confront your fear. I tried the water slide, and despite that impending sense of doom, that anxiety, I had so much fun. I was happy. I realized this isn't the end. This is the beginning of me going up again and again and going down the water slide again and again and again. And to the point where I didn't even want to leave the pool. And my grandfather basically had to drag me out of the water because I was just having so much fun. We don't know what happens after death. But for us to not believe that there's something due to Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is often the most true. I guess that depends on your perspective of simple, or just your perspective, whatever your life experience has shown you. Everyone's going to have a different life experience. Everyone's life is different, is it not? But that's my answer. I don't believe that we can ever truly know if there's anything beyond this, and those that do know are gifted. They are gifted to know. But you're still given the choice to deny what you know. You're given the choice to say that I don't believe this, or I find this too good to be true. I can't accept it. We're given the choice to not know who we are. It's all a part of finding ourselves. If we could see beyond this material substance, if we could see that there's a light beyond this form, then that wouldn't give us the ability to have the free choice to disbelieve in it. And if we don't have the ability to disbelieve in it, we can't really operate from our own personal experience. We're given this world to create as our own. How can we create this world if we know for a fact that there is something divine? We can only create our own world if we think that we're kind of like we're alone, like there's no one else watching, there's no one else with us. So even if angels exist and they're around us, we can't know for certain that they're there, because if they told us that they were there, if they gave us some definitive proof, we wouldn't be making choices based on our own decisions. We'd be making choices based on the fact that we know that there's something else. So that prevents us actually from coming to know God. Prevents us from knowing that, if we're given definitive proof. The video did cut out. I ran out of space. And that's all I really wanted to discuss. That we can't really know, because that would defeat the purpose of finding it for ourselves. That's my answer.